Ladies and gentlemen, if someone truly wants you, you won't have to wonder. You won't have to overanalyze texts or second-guess the silence, because it all shows up in the first 5 seconds in how they greet you. Their face, their tone, their energy, it'll tell you everything. You won't feel like a guest in their life. You'll feel like you belong. And if that moment doesn't light you up, don't wait around hoping they'll change, because the truth is, when someone's already yours, you'll feel it the second they see you. You can tell a lot about a man by how he greets you. It's not just about the words he says, it's the feeling behind them, the energy he brings into your space. That first few seconds tells you more than an entire evening of small talk. When someone genuinely likes you, it shows before they even open their mouth. His body language changes, his eyes soften or light up, and there's a natural pull in your direction. That moment of greeting isn't planned or rehearsed, it's instinctive, and in that spontaneity, the truth slips out. He can't hide what he feels in that split second of seeing you. The way he lights up, if he does, is often the first and most honest sign. If there's joy in his eyes when he sees you, that's real. There's a certain kind of energy people bring when they're excited to be around you. It's not loud or performative, it's present. It's that feeling that you're not just another person in the room. You're the person. His posture changes when you walk in. He leans in ever so slightly, and his focus narrows. He's not distracted. He's not multitasking. His attention is on you, and that attention is effortless. He's not thinking about what he's supposed to say. He's just happy you're there. That genuine presence is rare, and it's not something you can fake. When someone really feels something for you, it radiates out of them without them knowing. That greeting becomes a silent confession. I'm glad you're here. So many people spend time analyzing texts or waiting for signs when the clearest answers are already in front of them. The way he looks at you when you enter the room tells you more than 100 messages ever could. You don't need to hear "I miss you" if his eyes already say it. Words are easy to construct. We can craft the perfect message, send the right emoji, say the right thing. But our face, our body, hasn't caught up to our filters. That's why his greeting matters. It bypasses logic and taps into instinct. In that one moment, you see the truth. You see whether you're an obligation or a delight, whether you're part of his routine or his highlight. We've all felt the difference between someone who's happy to see us and someone who's just being polite. One feels like sunshine. You walk into the room and feel the warmth instantly. The other feels like a chill. You arrive and the temperature doesn't change, and we know the difference, even if we pretend we don't. You don't have to overthink a man's feelings if you pay close attention to his greeting. Does he look like he just got a surprise he didn't know he needed? Or does he look like someone who just noticed his phone buzzed again? That gap in response between excitement and indifference says everything, and the more you ignore it, the harder it is to admit the truth later. There's nothing complicated about genuine interest. When someone is into you, their energy shifts the moment you're near. They smile without thinking. Their voice changes, softer, warmer, or more upbeat. They create space for you, both physically and emotionally. It's not just about hugging you or saying, "Hey," it's the way they turn their full body toward you, the way they pause mid-conversation with someone else to say hello. That's not strategy, it's reaction. When someone you, they can't help but acknowledge you. And the acknowledgement feels different. It feels like priority, not politeness. You feel chosen, even when nothing is being said out loud. Sometimes the greeting reveals more about a relationship than the relationship itself. If he greets you like a routine, chances are you've become one. If he greets you like a spark, then you are still lighting him up. And even when things get comfortable, and they will, there's still a difference between familiarity and detachment. Even after time passes, even when the chemistry settles into connection, the way someone welcomes you still holds meaning. It tells you whether there's still curiosity, still joy, still affection. People think the small moments don't matter, but they're the ones that tell you whether the big feelings are still there. You don't have to train anyone to greet you like you matter. If it doesn't come naturally, it may never come at all. A greeting is a reflection of what you mean to someone when they're not thinking about how they should act. It's like catching a glimpse behind the curtain. If you consistently feel like an afterthought when you arrive, trust that feeling. Don't over-rationalize it. Don't tell yourself he's busy, distracted, or stressed. We all have busy lives, but we still light up for the people who brighten ours. That's human nature. We lean into what brings us joy. And if that's not you, the greeting will show it before the conversation ever does. There's a power in observing the quiet truths. Not everything needs to be said to be understood. When someone is genuinely into you, it's not just about effort, it's about instinct. You don't have to wonder how he feels because his body already told you. The smile, the posture, the tone, it all comes together in a brief but telling moment. The greeting isn't everything, but it's the first thing. It sets the tone, it speaks before he gets a chance to edit. And more often than not, the first few seconds tell you all you need to know. If you walk in and feel like a treasure, you are one. If you feel invisible, it's because you are in his eyes. Learning to recognize the greeting is about trusting your intuition. Your gut picks up on what your heart wants to deny. That flicker of disappointment you feel when he barely looks up, that tiny ache, that's your truth trying to speak. On the other hand, that flutter you get when he grins without realizing it, that's real too. Don't ignore those signals. They're honest. They're the unfiltered data before the excuses, before the rationalizations. When someone sees you and lights up, it changes the whole dynamic. It tells you you're not just welcomed, you're wanted. That's a powerful thing, and you deserve to feel that every time. The beauty is you don't have to chase this kind of energy. You don't have to beg for it, earn it, or manipulate it. When someone genuinely cares, it shows up naturally in how they greet you. That doesn't mean grand gestures every time. It doesn't mean perfection. It means you feel warmth, you feel seen, you feel like someone just had a better day because you showed up. And that is love in its simplest, purest form. You don't need a speech to know when you matter to someone. You need a moment. And often that moment is right at the beginning, right when you walk in, right when he sees you. And if that's where the magic is, you already have your answer. When someone truly values your presence, their enthusiasm doesn't come and go based on convenience. It stays. It's not about how they act one day and then disappear the next. Real interest shows up consistently in tone, in attention, in energy. When a person is genuinely excited to see you, it becomes a pattern, not a performance. The way they greet you today is the same way they greet you tomorrow and the day after that. That consistency isn't boring, it's reassuring. It's the steady beat of emotional presence. It doesn't feel like you're guessing where you stand, it feels like you've already arrived. It's easy to confuse intensity with consistency. Some people make grand gestures in the beginning, lavish compliments, long conversations, dramatic confessions, but they fade just as quickly. They burn bright, then burn out. But enthusiasm that is real feels different. It may not always be loud or poetic, but it doesn't disappear. You don't feel like you're on a roller coaster. You feel like you're in the hands of someone who knows what they want and shows it. Their energy doesn't spike only when it's convenient. It doesn't vanish when you need it most. It's dependable, and in that dependability, you feel safe. There's a rhythm to genuine care, and you feel it in how someone shows up again and again. They don't only greet you with warmth when they're in a good mood. They don't go cold when the novelty wears off. They continue to greet you with kindness, affection, and presence, even when life is busy, even when they're tired, because your presence is not something they take for granted, it's something they continue to appreciate. And you see it in those small moments, how their eyes light up, how their face relaxes, how their energy shifts toward you. That's not just attraction, that's consistency rooted in connection. This kind of enthusiasm is not about perfection, it's about effort. You're not expecting fireworks every day, but you should expect to feel like you matter. If someone greets you with the same openness and attentiveness regularly, that's someone who is emotionally invested. It shows that they're not performing for approval. They're not trying to win anything. They simply care, and that care remains steady over time. It becomes part of how they treat you, not because they have to, but because they want to. That kind of motivation can't be faked. It becomes part of their rhythm, and you feel it every time you're near. The truth is, enthusiasm doesn't need to earn or be loud to be powerful. It's in the soft smiles, the focused attention, the way someone puts their phone down when you enter the room. It's in the quiet ways they say, "I'm glad you're here," without needing words. That kind of greeting doesn't waver, depending on the day. It's consistent because their feelings are. It doesn't mean there won't be off days. It means those off days don't make you feel like an afterthought. Their presence still reaches out to yours. Their energy still welcomes you. That is what emotional consistency looks like, and it's what creates trust. People often overlook this kind of steady enthusiasm because it doesn't always come with drama or chase. But real connection doesn't need a chase, it needs grounding. And the way someone greets you is often where that grounding begins. If you find yourself constantly wondering how someone feels, it's probably because they aren't showing up with the kind of emotional clarity you need. You shouldn't have to guess if you're wanted. You shouldn't have to search for clues. When someone greets you with regular warmth and presence, you feel chosen, you feel calm, and calm in love is everything. There's something deeply comforting about knowing what kind of energy you'll be met with. When you walk into a space and know that someone will light up every time, it brings a sense of emotional safety. That consistency tells you, you are a part of my life, not just a moment in it. And that feeling is not about being dependent. It's about being emotionally aligned. We all want to feel like we matter to the people we care about. And when someone greets you with steady affection, that desire is met without you having to ask. That's not luck. That's emotional maturity in action. You deserve someone who doesn't just bring that energy once in a while, but who shows up with it again and again. Someone whose greeting makes you feel at ease rather than uncertain. It's not about dramatic declarations or over-the-top gestures. It's about emotional consistency. The kind that feels genuine whether you're together at a party, walking through the door after work, or just sitting quietly at home. That enthusiasm becomes the baseline, not the exception. You begin to trust it. You begin to lean into it. And over time, that consistency becomes the foundation of everything else. When someone shows up for you with the same warmth and energy, it means they're not driven by novelty. They're driven by connection. They're not just in it for the highs. They're there for the steady building of something real. That's why their greeting matters so much. It reflects how they feel beneath the surface without needing to say anything at all. It shows that their feelings aren't conditional, that you don't need to earn their attention every time. You already have it. And when that's how you're greeted again and again, you stop questioning your worth. You simply know you're valued. It's easy to get caught up in looking for grand signs. But the truth is, consistency in how someone meets you, sees you, and welcomes you is the clearest sign of all. The way they greet you, reliably, warmly, genuinely, tells you they see you as part of their life, not a temporary distraction. Their enthusiasm doesn't just show when it's easy. It shows when it's hard. It shows when they're tired. It shows when the day has been long, but they still want to make you feel like coming home matters. That's what love looks like when it grows roots. It greets you like you've been missed, even if you were only gone for a little while. Words can be rehearsed, timed, and delivered with precision, but the way someone makes you feel, especially in that first moment of seeing you, can't be manufactured. It's a truth that cuts through performance. There's a quiet depth in the emotional atmosphere someone creates just by being around you. It's not about what they say in that moment. It's the energy, the look, the warmth that makes you feel acknowledged on a soul level. You feel it when they pause, even slightly, just because you arrived. Their body softens, their face brightens, or there's a shift in how they hold themselves. No script could replicate that level of presence. You don't need to analyze their words if your heart already feels something shift. When someone's energy says you're special, believe it. That feeling is your clue. Real presence speaks louder than compliments. It's easy to say nice things. You look beautiful. I missed you. So good to see you. But presence turns those phrases into truth. Without that emotional undercurrent, the words land flat. But when the way they look at you holds depth and warmth, you believe every word they haven't even said yet. That look carries weight. It says you matter without needing a single sound. Some people try to impress you with language but fall short in presence. Others barely say a word and make you feel entirely seen. The difference lies in intention. Genuine care transmits through the smallest gestures. When you feel it, you don't have to ask for it. Your body knows when it's in the company of real affection. There's something magnetic about the way someone shows up for you emotionally, even in the simplest greetings. It's not dramatic, it's deeply human. You feel safe, seen, and significant all at once. It's like your presence is an answer to something they didn't even know they were missing. And they can't hide it. Not with their voice, not with their eyes, not with their posture. Emotional authenticity always. Wise leaks through. No matter how much someone tries to control the narrative, that moment of connection might be fleeting, but it stays with you because it speaks to something deeper than attraction. It taps into belonging. You're not just being noticed, you're being felt. And that feeling is something words alone could never replicate. When someone is emotionally tuned in, they don't just look at you, they look into you. It's not an intense stare, it's a soft focus. Their eyes rest on you with the ease of someone who is exactly where they want to be. It's not about saying the right thing, it's about showing up with the right energy. That kind of attention isn't something you have to earn, it's given freely. And when you experience it, it shifts something inside you. You start to relax, to trust, to feel like maybe, just maybe, this is a space where you can be your whole self. Not because you were told you could, but because you were shown you could. That emotional resonance can't be imitated or forced, it simply is. The most powerful greetings are often the quietest ones. No big speeches, no elaborate gestures, just a soft smile, a hand on your back, a deep exhale when they see you, as if the world got just a little lighter. That's when you know you're not just being acknowledged, you're being welcomed. There's a difference between someone seeing you out of obligation and someone being genuinely affected by your presence. That difference is emotional weight. And it's measured not in words, but in the way they make you feel, held in that moment. When you feel warmth radiate from someone, without them even trying, you're already in the presence of something meaningful. It's not loud, but it's unmistakable. Often, we get so used to people telling us what they think we want to hear that we stop trusting our own emotional radar. But your body knows when someone's energy is genuine. Your nervous system responds to it. You feel calmer, more centered, and a little more alive. That's not an accident. That's what it feels like to be seen without condition. You're not performing. You're not trying to be more interesting or more attractive. You're just being. And their response to your presence, that greeting that feels like a gentle yes, is what makes the moment sacred. When that happens consistently, it becomes a thread of emotional truth that runs deeper than words. This kind of emotional greeting isn't about needing to impress. It's about connection that stands on its own. When someone makes you feel like they're happy to see you, not some idealized version, it changes everything. You stop bracing for disappointment. You stop shrinking yourself. You stop wondering if you're too much. Because their emotional presence tells you, without words, that you're already enough. That unspoken affirmation carries more weight than any romantic line. It meets you where you are, not where you're trying to be. And that kind of recognition is what creates real closeness, the kind that grows over time. You don't need someone to tell you over and over that they like you when their entire demeanor changes at your arrival. You feel the difference in your chest, in your breath, in how safe you feel to be still around them. Their presence is calming, not confusing. Their reaction to you feels like alignment, not calculation. And it's in that calm, in that grounded energy, that emotional connection becomes real. It's not about butterflies or adrenaline, it's about feeling at home. And when someone greets you like that, even if it's subtle, even if it's quiet, you remember it. Because those are the moments when you're not just being looked at, you're being felt. That emotional atmosphere can't be manufactured, and it can't be sustained by charm alone. It comes from someone being deeply attuned, not just to what they want, but to how they're making you feel. And when someone is truly present, their greeting becomes a mirror. It reflects how safe, special, and worthy you are in their eyes. You don't walk away questioning their interest. You walk away with a subtle certainty, I mattered just now. That's rare, and that's real. You can't build a lasting connection on just good conversation or shared hobbies. You build it on how consistently someone makes you feel when words fall away. That feeling is the anchor. In a world full of distractions and noise, emotional clarity is a gift. And the greeting, the way someone meets you emotionally before they say a word, is one of the clearest forms of that gift. It cuts through doubt, it bypasses overthinking, it speaks directly to the part of you that just wants to be chosen, not for being perfect, but for being you. You don't have to search for signs when you're greeted with presence. The answer's already there, in the energy, in the tone, in the warmth that meets you at the door. You were never asking for too much, you were asking for the truth, and sometimes that truth arrives before any words ever do. When you're truly wanted by someone, there is no need to chase clarity. The greeting tells you everything before you even ask. You don't sit in silence, wondering if you're too much, too eager, too available. You don't refresh your messages hoping to feel seen, because when a person genuinely values you, they make that known without ambiguity. Their presence, their energy, the way they acknowledge you, it all carries certainty. You're not walking into a room trying to win them over. You walk in already feeling like you belong. That ease is the natural byproduct of someone whose feelings are already decided. There's no confusion because there's no game. Uncertainty often breeds in silence and mixed signals, but when someone's feelings are real, they aren't careful with affection, they're consistent with it. There's no need to decode half-hearted gestures or vague compliments. You're not clinging to breadcrumbs. You're receiving a steady stream of emotional clarity, and it starts with how you're greeted. That moment when eyes meet, when energy shifts, when attention locks in, it's small but unmistakable. It doesn't ask for performance. It doesn't create tension. Instead, it brings peace. Because you know instinctively that you're not being tolerated, you're being welcomed. You don't need to convince someone of your worth when it's already been seen. People often stay in situations where they feel half-held, hoping that effort will one day equal certainty. But effort cannot create what alignment naturally reveals. When someone truly feels connected to you, that connection shows up without prompting. You don't have to chase moments of validation. You don't have to wonder why yesterday felt different from today, because their emotional presence is stable, and that stability starts with the way they greet you every time. There's no diminishing return on their energy. You don't feel like a highlight one day and an afterthought the next. That emotional consistency is your answer, not a maybe, not a someday, but a clear, grounded yes. The difference between being pursued and being chosen is subtle but powerful. Pursuit can be fueled by excitement, ego, or curiosity, but being chosen consistently, quietly, and with care starts the moment someone sees you and lights up again and again. Not just in the beginning, not just when it's easy, but always. It's in the way someone continues to greet you with affection, even after familiarity sets in, even after methought dulls the novelty. That kind of steady warmth is what separates fantasy from something real. You stop being a project to win. You become a presence they genuinely want in their life. That's why the greeting matters. It's the quietest form of devotion. Emotional uncertainty is not romantic, it's exhausting. It keeps you in your head, second-guessing every interaction, waiting for signs that you're wanted. But when someone truly values you, they don't create that chaos. They create calm. You don't feel like you're trying to prove your worth with every smile, every reply, every gesture. Their greeting removes that need, because when someone shows up for you with consistency, you stop seeking permission to feel safe. You already are. The greeting becomes your first breath of relief, and with that relief comes the freedom to just be, without fear of being too much or not enough. You never have to beg to be prioritized when you're already important to someone. It shows in the smallest moments, in how they say your name, how they make eye contact, how they pause to welcome you with their full presence. That greeting is not just a social custom, it's an emotional temperature check. It tells you if you're seen, if you're valued, if your presence shifts their world even just a little. And when that greeting is soft, open, and genuine, your nervous system responds with ease. Because in that moment, you know you're not fighting for space in someone's life. You already have it. You don't ask for a seat, you're invited in. There's a beautiful simplicity in being met with certainty. When someone is truly in, there's no fear in their hello. There's no hesitation in their body, no resistance in their energy, just openness, just warmth. That kind of greeting doesn't fluctuate based on mood or circumstance. It reflects something deeper. You're not walking into a room trying to measure the emotional temperature. You already know it's safe. That safety allows you to stop performing, to stop protecting yourself, to lean in, not just physically, but emotionally. And that's T-shift from guarded to grounded only happens in the presence of real connection. Far too many people settle for attention that feels inconsistent, confusing, or transactional. They wait for better days, more clarity, a breakthrough moment that never seems to come. But the truth is, if someone truly cares, you'll feel it in the very first few seconds you enter their world. You'll see it in how their face changes, how their body leans in, how their voice carries joy. You won't have to wait for the perfect moment, because every moment they see you becomes a small celebration. That's not drama, that's devotion in its quietest form. You don't need fireworks, you just need the steady flame of someone who keeps showing up. It's not love if you're constantly wondering whether you're loved. Love doesn't live in riddles, it lives in patterns. And one of the clearest patterns to look for is how someone greets you consistently. Is it with presence, with joy, with genuine attention? Or is it with obligation, distraction, or indifference? The difference matters more than we often admit, because how someone starts an interaction often reveals how they truly feel inside. And when those beginnings are warm, reliable, and sincere, you stop questioning the foundation, you start building on it. You begin to trust that what's being offered is real. You deserve a greeting that doesn't make you doubt, a moment that doesn't leave you guessing, a connection that doesn't require convincing. When someone greets you like you're already theirs, not in a possessive way, but in a chosen, steady, intentional way, it changes everything. You exhale, you relax, you return to yourself, because in that space, there is no more auditioning, no more adjusting, no more asking if you're too much. You're simply received. And being received like that again and again is one of the most healing kinds of love. It tells you that you are not just enough, you are deeply wanted exactly as you are.